Hello students, my name is Jennifer and I'll be teaching you geography. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, the Earth and the Graticule. What do you mean by graticule? The network of intersecting lines of latitude and longitude is called a graticule. It is imaginary on the Earth, of course, but is drawn on the globes and maps for reference. The graticule of latitude and longitude lines is an angular measurement system. The graticule of latitude and longitude lines in an angular measurement system. All features of the Earth's surface are located using measurements that are relative to the center of the Earth. Latitude lines are parallel to each other while longitude lines converge at the poles. Now observe this figure before we start this lesson and try to answer this following questions. Observe the figure 1.1 and answer the following questions. Which places are shown on the map? In which city is the Taj Mahal located? In which continent is the Taj Mahal located? In which direction is the Taj Mahal located? For Graham in St. Petersburg, for Katya in Kimberley, for Michiko in Tokyo, and Meenakshi in Port Blair. Shahid in Agra is specifying the directions of which the others live. How will he express them? In what direction will Natalia in Rome and Enrique in Lima say the other child lives? Will the answers be the same? Look at the map carefully and try to answer these questions. The answers for all these questions are Graham, Katya, Michiko, Natalia, Meenakshi, Shahid and Enrique have answered the above questions differently using different directions and subdirections. The Taj Mahal is located at the same place, that is Agra. However, each one of the child told the direction from their respective places. Their answers were different. This means that the use of directions alone does not help us to accurately describe the location of a place. That is why it became necessary to find a new system to state the precise location of any place on the earth. Let's see in this chapter further what it is. Now, moving further, let's see what this chapter has to teach us. Let us see the figure 1.2, which shows the Earth's size. Figure 1.2 shows the length of the east-west and north-south diameters of the Earth. This will give you some idea about the size of the Earth. Oceanic waters, uneven nature of the land, forest, innumerable islands and of different sizes and buildings that make it impossible to actually draw such lines on the Earth. In order to overcome this difficulty, geographers developed a miniature model of the Earth in the form of a globe. This can be used to determine locations on the Earth. One can actually draw horizontal and vertical lines on the globe, though not on the Earth. Thus, they are imaginary lines on the Earth. The next topic which we are going to learn is the angular distance of the Earth. Observe this figure carefully and listen to what I am trying to teach you. The location of any place on the Earth is determined with reference to the center of the Earth. In order to do it, we consider a straight line joining the point on the surface of the Earth. At the center, it makes an angle with the plane of the equator. The measure of this angle is used in determining the locations. For example, in this figure 1.3, the measure of angle XMV is 30 degrees. That is, its angular distance from the equator is 30 degrees. Look at the figure and tell the angular distance of y from the equator. The angular distance of y from the equator is 60 degrees. Figure 1.3 shows another plane. It passes through x. It is parallel to the plane of the equator. Observe figure 1.3 and see how it meets the surface of the Earth. Note that it forms a circle on the surface. Any point to this circle and the equatorial plane form an angle of 30 degree at the center of the earth. Now students, I want you to take a paper and pen and try to do this exercise at home by yourself. Use the following next figure number 1.4 to answer the questions. Now students, I want you to try this exercise. For that you will need a paper and a pencil. Try to draw the diagram which will be shown next on your screen. Pause the screen for a moment and try to draw the diagram. You have to make some changes in that diagram as per I'll instruct. In the upper portion of the circle at the center X, draw angles of 20 degrees. V1x, K1 and V2x, K2. K1 and K2 being the points on this circle. Draw an ellipse joining K1 and K2. In the lower half of this circle, mark angles of 60 degree and name the points on the circle as P1 and P2. Draw an ellipse joining P1 and P2. I hope you have understood the points and drawn the diagram as per instructed. Your diagram should look like the next diagram as I have drawn it. Answer the following questions after you have finished drawing the diagram. Are the distances between K1, K2 and P1, P2 the same? Compare the distances xk1 and xp2. Are these distances the same or they are different? Now compare the ellipses you have done. Which is the larger ellipse and why? I hope everyone has tried to draw the diagram because our next topic is dependent on the diagram which you have drawn. Our next topic is parallels of latitudes. Parallels of latitude. You must have realized that the ellipse drawn by joining the 20 degrees points is larger than the ellipse that joins the 60 degree points. However, the distances xk1 and xp2 are the same. This is because we are dealing with a sphere. Note that though these lines appear to be ellipses in the diagram, on the globe they are circles. The circles thus created at some angular distance from the center of the earth are parallel to one another. Hence, they are called parallels of these latitudes. The values of these parallels are angular measures expressed in degrees. The degrees of the parallels are measured from the equator as shown in the figure 1.5. That is why the equator is considered as 0 degree parallel. It is the largest parallel and also a great circle. The angular distance of the parallels towards north and south goes on increasing away from the equator. Our next topic for this chapter is equator. I know everyone must have heard about the word equator or the equator of the earth. Now, what does it mean? What does the equator of the earth actually means? The equator bisects the earth into north and south parts. The one to the north is called the northern hemisphere, while the one to the south is called southern hemisphere. Towards the north and the south of the equator, parallels of latitude progressively become smaller and smaller. On the globe and also on the earth, at the north and south ends of the axis, they appear as points. These are called North Pole and South Pole respectively. While mentioning the value of a parallel, it is necessary to mention whether it is in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. The parallels from the northern hemisphere are referred as to 5 degree N, that is 5 degree north, 15 degree N, that is 15 degree north, 30 degree N and 50 degree N. Whereas the parallels from the southern hemisphere are referred as to 5 degree south, that is 5 degree S, 15 degree S, that is 15 degrees south, 30 degree S, that is 30 degrees south, and 50 degree S, that is 50 degrees south.